Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I will let you know first and foremost that this session will be recorded today, and we will send out copies to you of the slides as well as a recording at the end. If you do not want to be recorded today, please feel free to drop off at this time. My name is Russell Gray. I am the Credentialing Program Coordinator, Vendor Relations with the Access RMU team. And on behalf of our team, our Program Manager, Mrs. Sophia Sweeney, we have Dottie, Mindy, we have our new team member, Deborah. Welcome aboard, Deborah. And of course, David. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you taking some time to come and listen to what we have to say about the Access Army EU program, Army Credentialing Assistance. And hopefully by the end of this, we will have persuaded you that you want to be a part of this program as well. So we hope that each and every one of you are ready for the information that we have to provide for you today. We will have questions and answers available at the end. However, if there's something that I say as we're going through and you have a question about it, please feel free to either put it in the chat or raise your hand, and one of our team members will be more than happy to get that answered for you. Or if it needs to come up on the net, we can bring you on the net. That way, everyone can hear the question. If you haven't had the opportunity to, please make sure your microphones are on mute. Again, for those of you that are just joining us, this is being recorded, and we thank each and every one of you for joining us today. We are going to discuss with you what is Army CA. We're going to go over the new vendor process, which we hope that each and every one of you will partake in very shortly. That will include talking about the memorandum of agreement, the needed application items. Then we'll drop down and have some notes from our program manager, Mrs. Sophia Sweeney. And then, of course, Q&A at the end. So what is Army CA? We are the Army Credentialing Assistance Program. It's similar to the tuition assistance program that soldiers can pursue where they want to obtain their bachelor's or associate's or master's degrees. However, our focus is on civilian industry credentials and license. So everything from your project management professional to your CompTIAs to even private pilot's license. We have over 2,000 credentials and licensures that have been approved for soldiers to participate in. We'll show you on the Army Cool site a little bit of that information as we go forward. And soldiers can look at pursuing these credentials and licensures to not only make themselves smarter at the jobs that they're currently doing in the military, but also give them an opportunity when they decide to transition from the service to be able to put on their resumes things that employers are looking for and they understand. So we want to give the soldiers that opportunity, and we help them through the Army Credentialing Assistance Program to obtain that. So each and every one of you are clear and you understand how the program goes, because you may hear often someone refer to this as Army Cool. And we're going to give you a brief rundown of the program itself and kind of how to differentiate between the different parts of it. So again, Army Credentialing Assistance is what we're all a part of here, and what we hope you as a vendor will join as well. Army Credentialing Assistance is actually where the soldiers will go to request funding for industry certifications. The Army Cool program, every branch has a cool program. However, the Army, we do our program a little bit differently. The Army Cool program for us is a repository for all of the credentials and license that soldiers are eligible to pursue. They can go onto the Army Cool site, and it is a public facing site. We'll make sure you can see the web address right here. If you want to look around there, it is public facing. But on the Army Corps site, soldiers have an opportunity to look at it, the over 2,000 credentials and licenses that have been approved for them to pursue. Once they're ready to pursue that, then they'll request funding through Army CA. The AI portal is what you as a vendor would be using. This is where you're going to put all of your prevalent information as far as your contact information, what courses you offer, the pricings and items like that. Where the soldiers, they're actually going to see everything in the Army Ignited system, which is their platform that allows them to not only request the funding, but a metrics for them to communicate with the Army CA team and with our counseling cell, that they can get the information and assistance they need to proceed with their credentialing venture. Just so all of you are aware, we all of our providers, colleges, universities, credentialing agencies, we consider everyone as vendors. So if you hear me saying that throughout the process here, vendors is inclusive of everyone that kind of assists the soldiers in the process. So soldiers start out by navigating through Army Cool, as I previously said, and finding credentials that either align to their MOS that they're currently assigned to, or if they're looking at something that they just want, really are interested in doing once they leave the service, an opportunity to look and see if they're eligible for that. Once they're ready and they found that credential, they're going to request a CA request, or what we refer to as a CAR, through Army Ignited. Once it's submitted there, it's going to come over to our team, which is ACAPO, and we're going to make sure that they meet the requirements and then send it forth for funding. Soldiers are instructed to contact vendors before they submit their CAR requests to us. So you should be receiving a contact from the soldier saying, hey, I see that you offer this credential or training for this credential, and I would like to get a custom quote from you, basically showing your vendor name, the name of the soldier that's looking to participate, what course you're looking to pursue, and the cost. All soldiers are required to upload that custom quote before they can even finish out their CAR process. As I mentioned before, the quote needs to have the soldier's name, can have start and end date. It's not necessary to have the start date, but at minimal and expiration date on there that the quote is good for. So if you say, hey, this quote is only good for 1 year, make sure that it says it on there. That way you don't have someone coming back later trying to request something that is being used by an invalid quote. When the payments are made and the receipts are reconciled, the soldier will be informed that they can begin their training process. We ask that you do not allow soldiers to begin courses before payment has been made to you, or they could be liable for those costs out of pocket. Before creating an account in the AI portal, and we'll go through that in just a little bit as far as what we need for you to do as a vendor, if you do choose to participate, there's two main items on here that we want to let you know that are mandatory items and are usually the longest to obtain and acquire. That's why we kind of throw those up here first before we get into everything. First is your cage code. You want to make sure that you go to the sam.gov site if you don't already have a cage code. There's the address right there, sam.gov. You'll go and get your cage code registered. It's a 6-digit code mixed of numbers and letters that you'll utilize and will be very important, especially with the way the program is going in the near future. The finance piece, you're going to be able to invoice directly into the AI portal and have the finance part of it, the payment made to the bank that you have associated to your cage code. So it's very important that you not only have a cage code, but that it is a current cage code. And then, of course, you need to have been in business for at least 2 years. This is a mandatory item as well with Army CA, that you needed to have been in business for 2 years, and it's not waivable. Here are some items that just recently changed with the Army CA program. This took effect on the 11th of December. So, like I said, these are hot off the press. The first item is that soldiers no longer will receive $4,000 per fiscal year for credentialing assistance. Soldiers will now only receive $2,000 that will go toward them taking exams or taking preparatory courses to sit for that exam. Their total cap now has been moved to $4,500, but that means that uh, that extra 500 goes toward their tuition assistance, not credentialing assistance. So they can use $2,000 towards CA. The credentials are limited to one per fiscal year now. They can only get three per 10 years in service. So they really need to be looking at the credential that they want to pursue and make sure that it's what they want to go after. CA for credentials is related that are related to aviation related credentials will now only receive $1,000 per fiscal. Previously, that was only for active duty, but that's now for active guard and reserve members. They will only receive $1,000 per fiscal year toward aviation related credentials. We know that kind of created an issue with some of our aviation providers because we know that taking things like the private pilot license is quite expensive to obtain. But we also know that those items can be phased out, and that's what a lot of our current vendors have done to phase out that cost to help soldiers. So again, the $1,000 per fiscal year for some aviation related credentials. First time CA users, the soldiers are required to complete their Army Ignited training and visit the VA Virtual Council cell and Mill Gears before they can create their first CA request. So if a soldier for some reason comes to you and asks, "Hey, why can't I do this?" You can tell them, one, have you spoken to your virtual counseling cell, and two, have you completed your mandatory training to be able to participate? Soldiers are now required to take the exam. Previously, a soldier could take the training, and then if they didn't want to take the exam, they didn't have to. If they participate in Army CA now and they request training, once the results are submitted for training, they have up to 180 days to request for the examination to be completed. If they don't, then they could be responsible for paying back not only any issues with the exam, but they would be required to pay back for training courses as well, regardless if they pass it or not. Sorry, there are additional things that will be coming out later this year that will apply to the policy, but right now those are the hot items that we need to make sure that our vendors are aware of. So the new vendor process. Many of you have probably received this email from me several times. If you haven't, I'll be more than happy to send it out to you again. But this is our vendor invite email, basically telling you the process of what you need to do to participate. Within that is the memorandum of agreement that needs to be signed. You need to make sure in the top paragraph here, your vendor name is here. And then at the very bottom, after you've read the entire item, make sure that the signature and printed name and title of the signatory is on the bottom there. Make sure that the individual who's signing has the legal authority to do so, i.e. the CEO, the CFO, someone who, if arbitration became necessary, that they would be able to represent your company on behalf of that. Once we get this back, we will send it to our leadership for signature. And once your application has been approved, you will receive a signed copy of the MOA back in your approval email. Key points again, make sure that you fill out that top paragraph with your vendor name and read the entire MOA. Understand that the MOA is written at a high level. It is written to mimic a lot of our TA policies, but it is written at a high level. So we do understand that some of the items may not pertain to some of the vendors, i.e. some of our mom and pops it may not pertain to them, but that's okay. If you have questions about certain parts, ask us about it. Make sure that you print and sign at the bottom and that the title of the signatory is included there. Please do not use DocuSign, as our leadership will not be able to sign the document, and then we'll have to return it to you and get you to redo it. So just to prevent that, don't use DocuSign. So after the MOA has been sent back to us. This is where your journey with the Army CA program is going to begin. And we're going to ask that you start your journey on the Army Cool homepage. We're going to show you that here toward the end, what that looks like. Again, that is a public facing site. From there, you're going to be able to check and see if the credential or the training that you offer aligns to one of the over 2,000 approved credentials and license that we have on there. If it does, outstanding. We look forward to for you going forward and creating your application. If it doesn't, and you believe that the credentials should be added, there's also an opportunity on the homepage of Army Cool to submit new credentials for review. The vendor CA process guide, we also make sure this is included on your invitational email, that it'll break down section by section what you need to do during the application process. During that, during the application process, you'll see that we require a few items, and you want to make sure that you have all of these items together before you actually start the application in the AI portal. I say that because the AI portal does sometimes kick you out of the system, and if you don't have everything in, it can make you start over. So to keep you from having to do that, I'd say make sure you have all of this information together before you start. One of those items is a business license, or for our aviation vendors and air agency certificate. That business license is basically something stating that you are authorized to do business in the state that you're working in. We know that some states that do not require a business license, so a letter of authenticity will also work in that space as well. Excuse me. A CB authorization letter. So this is saying I'm going to use the project management professional as an example. So if you are authorized to provide training or the examination on behalf of PMI, that's a letter that we would need from them stating that they recognize that you are good to go, and an expiration date of when that letter expires. Training statistics. So this is, if you do not have the CB letter, if you can't obtain that, we request that you provide the training statistics. You need to have at least 25 students per credential that you're looking to offer training for. So each one of your items has to have 25 students aligned to it, showing that they have taken the credential exam as a result of your training. When you're in the application process, it will ask you for the CB letter, but if you don't have that and you're using the stats, you can put the stats in both the CB letter and the training stats slot, and vice versa. If you have the CB letter, you can put that in both the CB letter and training stats slot, so it doesn't block you out. I see that I do have a question from Brian, or was that answered?
It's good. We're
Okay.
I'm just adding them to an email right now. So you're good.
Okay,
Continuing on.
perfect. Uh, Also, you're going to need a Word document with your website's URL on it. Easy. Take a Word document, copy it from your website, paste it onto the Word document. That's all you need to do there. And then course lists, and all of this will be included in your invitational email. But the course list needs to have the name of the course, the credential name as it is written out in Army Cool, exactly how it says in Army Cool, and then the total cost and your cage code, and that's what you would have obtained from sam.gov. If documents don't load for you, you want to make sure that they are in PDF format and that they can't be any larger than 4 megabytes. If you're still having issues with that, you can contact the help desk and they can assist you with getting the information in there. So going into the AI portal, this is what the login screen is going to look like when you first go to sign in. Since you guys will be new institutions, you're going to select a new institution account. However, once you get in there, and if you want to add additional employees to be able to have access, i.e., say you have someone who does just the finance part of what you do, or someone who's just going to load the grades for the soldier, you can add, they can do the new user account after the institution account has been created. You're going to select the Army Credentialing Assistance option. You see that the other options in here for Air Force Cool or the MyCA are there as well. We do not run those programs. If you'd like to be a part of those programs, you'll need to reach out to their POCs. But for us, you're going to select the Army Credentialing Assistance. When you're in here, you're going to type in the name of your institution. Make sure that you select next on here. If you hit enter, it's going to give you an error message. So just select the next key. Once you're in there, you're going to put in your institution's information, i.e. your tax status, your teaching method, your website. You're going to put here again, your address, city, state, zip. And then on the application, those items I told you that you wanted to make sure you got before you started the application, these are where you're going to put those items. You're going to upload these items in these different spots. You see here the business license, credentialing body authorization letter, the training metrics, the website URL, the course list. You're going to put when your business license expires, the cage code, and when it expires. You see an example here. This vendor put in their air agency certificate and their website, just showing that what it looks like once they're uploaded. Here you're going to put in your username and you're going to confirm that username. Every individual that you put in here will have to have their own separate account and usernames to be able to participate. You'll put your title, your personal information in there, and you're going to add up this and place the sum in here, not just copy this and put it in, but you want to add it up and put the sum in here. Select next from there. You'll get this message here. And this is not your message saying that everything is done, but this is just saying that you're ready to submit your application. If you're good to go and everything's been submitted correctly, you'll hit that submit button. New vendor applications are reviewed at a minimum weekly by the ACOPO team. They're sent to our PM for final approval. So once we review the application and if everything is good to go in there, then our PM, Mrs. Sweeney, will say, yep, we can go ahead and approve that vendor. At that point, you're going to receive the email back from us saying that you've been approved. And also, it's going to have a copy of the MOA signed by our leadership team that you will be able to keep for your record. If it's rejected, we're also going to send you an email to let you know what needs to be corrected, and you will have to resubmit your application. If you receive an error when submitting the application, remember it could be because it's not in PDF format or it's larger than 4 megabytes. Army CA may cover CEUs, PEUs, and recertifications if that's something that you offer for the soldiers to be able to utilize. If you use a third party, funding will only go to you as the vendor. So if there's someone else that might receive funding, they need to register as an approved vendor for Army CA. And as of right now, there are no service requirements for our officers and warrant officers to participate at this time. So if you have someone who contacts you who fits in one of those sections and they ask you if you know anything about if there's a commitment requirement, again, you can send them back to the counseling cell or let them know per the slides that we'll give you here that at this time there's no service requirement. If you do not offer an item, say that you offer training, but you don't offer the exam, do not list it on your AI portal account. That'll just confuse the soldiers. Just let them know that they will need to go to a vendor that offers the exam. Also, with the new requirements that have come down, if there is not a vendor in the system that currently offers the exam, they won't be able to see it in there for training. So that's another thing. If you know of a vendor that offers the exam part and you do not see them in on the approved vendor list, which will show you how to get to, you can always reach out to them and ask that they contact us to participate so we can add them. Soldiers need to complete their request no later than 30 days prior to getting out of the service. If your company does not directly accept the payments, you will not be able to participate in Army CA. And prior to submitting any marketing items, say you want to put something on your personal website showing that you have been approved by Army CA, we ask that you send any of that information into our office. You can send it to that email address that's listed right there, or you can send it back to myself or Mrs. Sweeney and to David and Dottie. We'll provide our email addresses there for you in the chat, but you'll be able to send that back to us. And if there's items you would like to have looked at for review, our PM will look at it and our team will look at it. And if it's good to go, we'll let you know that you can publish. If you are already a part of the Air Force Cool or the MyCA program, you may already be in the AI portal. You will still need to log in to the AI portal and create an account for Army CA. To do this, you'll select school at the very top of the home page, then funding programs, and from there you'll be able to select one of the three Army options, i.e. Active Guard Reserve. You only have to select one because once you're approved, it'll go toward all three components. Does anyone have any questions for me before we move over to Mrs. Sweeney? Sophia, do we have any chats or anything in there that we need to address before we go forward?
Oh, looking good.
Outstanding. All right, then I am going to transfer it over now to Mrs. Sophia Sweeney, our program manager, and she's going to give you guys a look at what the Army Cool site looks like and some other information. Sophia, over to you.
Thank you, Russell. And welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Sophia Sweeney. I'm the Credentialing Assistance Program Manager, as well as the Army Cool Program Manager. Next slide, please. Just going to give you a little bit of information. So if you haven't already gone to the Army Cool site, I ask that you please do, because you will be able to find a lot of good information and look for specific credentials that you might be wanting to offer training towards. So you can see from the homepage itself, it's a public site. So you can go to, you can use basically Chrome or Edge, Firefox to go onto this site. There's no requirement to add a CAC card or anything like that. From this page, you can see that you can see how to use Cool. You can see the CA process or the CA program page. And also up top, you can see where it shows credential search. So if you're not really sure what credential your training might lead to, then we ask that you go to the credential search page to find that out. Next slide, please. If you did go to the search tab because you're trying to make sure that, maybe what you offer may or may not be in Army Cool. And currently, just as Russell said, everything that a soldier must pursue or can pursue must be listed in Army Cool. So you do it by going here to the search page just to verify. There's various filters that you can use if you want to drill down a little further, or you can just type in keywords, right? So if you thought about, I want to offer training towards PMP, then you can just type in the search by keyword box, PMP or program management, sometimes less is more. So don't add the full, name of something because it might not appear. But if you add, words, certain words, keywords, it might appear faster. Next slide, please. And from here, once you do pull up the credential you're looking for, you can see there's a little box that says credential details. And in that credential details, you can see the information on the credential itself and the credentialing agency point of contact information. Okay. So in this case, we're looking at program management professional with PMI. And so if you want to offer courses that lead to PMP. And again, just an example I'm using. You would contact PMI to ensure you're authorized to provide that training, or you get the, or maybe you sell the exam, whatever it is. You can contact them to request that they allow you, or even if they check your work, your POIs, whatever it is that you're providing, to see if your training will help lead a student to that specific credential. So that's one of the ways that you can participate, is by having that credentialing body letter like Russell talked about earlier, or the 25 students. If you cannot get a letter from the credentialing agency, because there are some credentialing agencies out there that won't allow you to, to do that, but that doesn't mean you still can't offer that training. You just have to have at least 25 students that have taken your course, and shortly after you passed your course and then took the exam right after that and passed that or failed it, either one. Just, you would have to be tracking the students that you're giving training to make sure you know that they could pass or fail that specific exam. Okay, next slide. Okay, so before I move on or hand this back over, are there any questions about how to find the credentials in Army Cool? Also in Army Cool, you will find that on the credentialing assistance page, there are slides to help you complete the process of getting into the system. This will be changing. Okay, we do have a system outage that's going to take place in the AI portal from 16 February to 23 February. It'll be completely down to where you won't be able to submit your applications. So it's up to you whether you want to wait until that time frame for the 24th when it comes back up and you enter into the new. Basically, it's a big overhaul of the current system, and it's going to look really nice. But even if you don't wait and you submit your application now, and it's in the system, if during that time frame, the 16th, when it shuts down, all of your whatever you entered in the old system will be moved into the new system. There might be a few things that you need to update, like as far as permissions wise, but that's about it. So it's up to you whether you want to do that. But if you do try to apply during the 16th to the 23rd of February, you're not going to be able to. And I think that is really all that I have, subject to any questions you may have. If none, I'm going to go ahead and pass it right back over to Russell. And I want to thank you all very much for attending, and hopefully you'll become partners of the CA program. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophia. Just on the page here, we have a few links that may interest you or assist you as you're going through doing different things. Of course, this is our new email address. You can be able to contact our organizational box. That please do not give this out to the soldiers. This is just for the vendors to utilize. To locate those credentials, we have a link there, the credentialing assistance page in Army Cool. Guidelines for DoD logos. So if you want to utilize DoD logos or items, please make sure that you reviewed that and contacted us as previously notified. There's the address there for sam.gov again for doing your cage code, the link to the AI portal, and the help desk. The help desk is only for technical issues. Say your password has expired or you keep getting an error message. They're not going to be able to assist you with CA request issues, finance issues, or soldier issues. For those items, you'll need to reach out to us directly. So, quick and easy. That's the Army Credentialing Assistance Program. Here's our contact information again right there if you're interested in contacting the program. Do any of you have any other questions? Yes, the recording will be made available. I'll make sure that I send the link as well as the slides and the invitational email out to everyone this afternoon. I'll send that back out again.
Russell?
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have a couple questions.
Okay.
So Linda asked, my program for fiber optics certification requires a hands-on component. Does this mean we're unable to participate in the program? The answer is you can absolutely participate in the program. If a soldier wishes to attend an in-person or a hybrid type of course that you might offer, absolutely, they can do that. So please, please add your stuff. We'd love to see you on our list. And then let me see. Thank you all very much. You guys are awesome. Okay, and I think, okay, one more question from Damon. Good day. I may have missed it in the presentation. How can we check our application process? And so if you can send us an email, and Dottie, if you could please add our emails in the chat box real quick. You can send us an email and we will check the status of your application, okay? And then Rachel asked, how quick is the payment once the invoice is submitted in the AI portal? So that, it just depends, right? So currently, if a soldier submits, right, they have to submit something at least 45 days in advance, from the start date. So if I submit it today, in 45 days, I can start, right? Or between that time and 90 days. So if they submitted today, within a couple of weeks to a few weeks, they will, our team, ACAPO, will have reviewed it if we have funds available. And if once we review it, it would automatically go into your queue. So if you have an account in the AI portal, you would be able to see that you have pending CA requests. At that point, you would create the invoice in the AI portal. And then once you create it, adding those students onto your invoice, it goes to the finance team. The finance team will create an authorization letter and you will accept that payment. And all of that can be done within a couple to few weeks. Again, that is only pending if we have funds at the time or there's no shutdown, that type of thing. So yeah, it could be a couple weeks before you actually get the payment, couple to few weeks, or at latest prior to the start date. Hope that answers your question, Rachel. And I think that, okay, perfect. I think that is it, Russell.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, like we said, we'll make sure that we send you the slides. We'll send you the YouTube link for the video and the other information you'll need. Only thing we'll need from you is to get the process started. We look forward to having you join the Army CA family as a partner to help our soldiers. And we thank each and every one of you for what you do. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you become a part of the program very soon.
Great job, Russell.